I'm doing this because if I don't just start recording and I have to plan this out, I'll be just sitting on this forever. It's been what, 5 years since I posted about my health? Well, maybe not fully 5 years. I certainly haven't kept up with it. It's a beautiful day. It's fall, so it's pretty. Go outside, you see how pretty it is. The leaves dropping all over our yard. This lovely huge maple. It's sure pretty though. Look at all those colors. Look at those leaves. Pretty. So I've been, I don't know, working on stuff for the last several hours. It's 3:34 today. Bacon that I had been sitting here from earlier today because I had made this for breakfast and I had a couple of pieces left, so I just throw it in the pan, but it had been sitting in my pan for like hours. I got, we're in October, I think 26th. We had gone to a trip to California, went to LA and went to Disneyland, and came back home and got COVID. And I was like, I didn't even think anything about COVID. Been a while. I was at work and I go into the office a couple days, or like 3 days a week, and someone that I work with, my colleagues, was like, oh, have you tested yourself for COVID? I was like, I didn't even think about it. I looked, I did have some COVID tests, but they've been expired in 2023. So I was like, let me go get a new COVID test. Got one, did the COVID test, and it came back positive. I was talking with another colleague and we were chatting and she asked me a question. So with your health stuff that had occurred a couple years ago, are you nervous about COVID? I was like, I wasn't until now. I hadn't really given it more or any really thought. And I started to get my mind going and started to reflect back on March of 2020. And, you know, it's been 5 years, which seems insane to me. And I've had a lot of strange up and down, and just gonna get on here and stop being procrastinate on what I want to do. We'll see how far this goes, you know. Hey Echo, how's it going? I think I had my push-up challenge that I was doing a couple years ago. Oh goodness. And yeah, I think really that's the last time I've really talked about my health. But I found a great doctor. He's an internal medicine doctor, and after many other practitioners, I've done a lot of different things. For some of you who really don't know what happened, you haven't watched, and honestly, I haven't even looked at the video. It was such a long time ago. I don't even know how much I share about it. So it's been a long time. March 2020, got really sick. COVID. It was really bad and thought I was gonna die. I had been scheduled for a hysterectomy because I dealt with extreme endometriosis. And I had been diagnosed with endometriosis in 2014, October of 2014. Oh my goodness, over 10 years ago now. And that diagnosis came through a laparoscopic surgery. That's how you officially get diagnosed. Fast forward, January of 2020. 2019, I was doing great. I was living, I was at the best of my health. 2019 was the year of health, I called it, my year of health. My year of health? Healing. My year of healing. And I was getting into, finding my things that I love, to honor that. After having a child, you kind of start wondering, who you are, what do you want to focus on, and just wanted to take that time. And I got into running. Who knew I would like running? So I was doing really well. And then January of 2020, even though it had been leading up to it, January 2020, I ended up going to the doctor because some problems. Anyways, so I was scheduled for surgery in February of 2020. Then COVID happened. I get sick March 12th of 2020, really, really bad. Someone who was, doing running, couldn't even walk 2 blocks without being out of breath. Fast forward more and more. I get my surgery in April of 2020. And then my body went into surgery shock. Then we had the COVID vaccine. Yes, the COVID vaccine, which I have not been able to talk about it for years, but I had an adverse reaction. And yes, I know there's different ones. I won't be specific, but I waited until this COVID vaccine was FDA approved. It was a mandate of work that if you wanted to keep your job, you needed to get the vaccine. Even though I had outlined all my medical reasons of why I was concerned to my doctors unfortunately refused to write a letter. It was my decision if I wanted to get the vaccine. They recommended that it might be best that I didn't, but they couldn't put that in writing. Well, that wouldn't work for work. They wanted it in writing. So I wasn't able to get a medical exemption at the time. And well, I'll do it at my doctor's office. Should be fine. So I got it 5 minutes after I left the office. So I want to say about 25 minutes. I had started developing hives on my mouth. And from there, I started developing other adverse reactions. On day 4, I ended up in the ER and was not treated the best in the ER. Also keeping in mind that our ER was full of National Guard. It was a very strange time, and yeah, the poor medical staff was overworked, and I totally understand different things, but it wasn't a great experience at the hospital. Thankfully, to a neurologist of mine, or it took a while to find a neurologist, actually not that long, but I couldn't find a local neurologist, so I had to travel. about 45 minutes away to find a neurologist. He was shocked by how I was treated. He saved my life. I was able to get a medical exemption from getting the second vaccine. I had had a stroke, or TIA, nothing, not a massive stroke, but that created a bunch of left-sided problems for me. And yeah, I had to do a lot of things to feel better. And then I was diagnosed 6 months later with hemiplegic migraines, because I kept having what maybe was a TIA, didn't know. But in the end, I was diagnosed with hemiplegic migraines. Throughout this process, on top of what I've learned, is I'm neurodivergent too. So that's something on the side, but getting diagnosed, however you want to say it. I don't like the idea of saying diagnosed, but diagnosed. I already knew I was dyslexic, but all right, this is getting to be a long video. My point of trying to make this video is I found a doctor. Some friends had been going to him, and he started giving me some peptides. And one of the peptides is called CMAX. It's a neurological peptide, and it's been used for different things. And another peptide, which I don't remember the name, and I don't remember which one is which, but the doctor explained to me that in Eastern Europe, they had been using this specific peptide to test on people. It's been around for a while, but it's been used to test on people who were post-stroke, and then eventually people who were considered long COVID. And so he thought I should try it. I was like, why not? After doing so many other things, and I could barely walk for more than 15 minutes without being completely exhausted, and my quality of life had just gone downhill. And I can go more into that if I go backwards, but going from like 2021, October of 2021, through the fact that, you know, I'd have good days and bad days of having the ability to walk to then not having the ability to walk was very strange for me. My body was being attacked. My immune system was being attacked. My muscles were being attacked, and I was very weak. I had done, like I said, LEDs. It's a neurofeedback therapy, but these little shock, it's not really shocks, but there are these waves to help your brain communicate with each other. But really it was great, wonderful results. I did that for like 6 months. And then I went to another practitioner who does a certain type of chiropractic work, and they were talking about my spine had a lot of inflammation, and so, but they had to do it in a certain way for my body not to react. I had gone through a physical therapy, vestibular therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy for about a year, so many different things, and insurance would only cover it for so long, and so I was running out of options. So then I had to start paying for some of these alternative methods, which isn't cheap, it's expensive. So I would last maybe 4 months on it, because we're looking at a few $1,000s. I would see progress for sure, but it just was so discouraging, and I got discouraged. I then, going back to keep talking about this doctor I found, who's giving me these peptides, and I started being able to walk and lift things. I could go to Costco without being completely exhausted. I didn't even being able to carry groceries. I had to get help. So it was quite exhausting for me. And I was also going into the office full time. And so that took a lot of my energy. Doing my cooking, I would go, like I said, good days, bad days. But when I'd have a burst of energy, great, I would do my cooking. But it's usually mostly like special meals, maybe on a weekend, or if I had a long, time off from work or something, then I would make bigger meals. We've done some traveling, so that was really nice. But I definitely would take a long time to recoup from these experiences. And so once I started this peptides back in May of 2025, you didn't really know what was happening until a couple weeks would go by, and you're like looking back and like, whoa, did I just lift my grocery bags without help? Did I just come home from Costco and I'm not completely exhausted and laying on the bed? Did I just, go and walk upstairs without feeling like I'm gonna, need a 2-hour nap? Little by little, I realized all the things that I was doing. Then come back to October of 2025, went to Disneyland, and got COVID, been recovering from that, and I'm like, I'm doing better than my family. I'm normally would need a lot of time to recover from something like that, and I'm doing great. On top of that, my dad had an emergency health situation. Which was extremely stressful. A couple weeks. So I had a lot of things happening in the month of October, and I'm doing really well. I'm even thinking one day I might be able to start running again. So the question that I have for myself is, can I ever get my YouTube channel going? Can I ever work on my content? I have to be genuine to myself. I am not a scripted person. I don't like to script right. And maybe one day that will change or evolve, but it's not going to work for me, and I'm going to procrastinate because it's overwhelming, and then I feel fake, and then I feel like I can't be genuine and I can't be myself. And for this to feel genuine, for this to feel right, it has to be unscripted. So, we'll see. We'll see how this challenge is gonna go. I'm challenging myself just to be and do my best to share aspects of my recovery and how I'm doing and moving forward and evolving. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe one day when my environment is right for me to talk long and more detail, and maybe I'll have some notes, because I am, ASD and ADHD, and so my mind will bounce a lot, and I have so many thoughts, and then CMAX is helping me. That peptide is really helping me. I don't think I would have been able to do this if I wasn't taking that peptide. So we'll see. But my journey that I started back in thank goodness, 2012 on my blog, really, which came about because I wanted to document my recipes, and I wanted to make 14 recipes that I could perfect. 14 recipes that I could perfect that would be my recipes. That's how my blog started. Not that that was anything major, but my point is that I started this journey starting from scratch in 2012 because that was me starting from scratch. I feel like I'm starting from scratch again, but with knowledge and being at a different stage of life, different things, maybe economically, because I was from an economical starting from scratch. This is more of a health starting from scratch. And, getting back on track and having that forward movement and strength and big picture. I know it's there. I know it's going to happen. I've always believed it, and I'm going to do it. So, I would love your support because I like to connect with people. That is my thing. Food, connecting with people is important. So thank you. And I appreciate those that do watch. I appreciate you. Have a good day.